about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It is your girl Diva and Knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris, where I'm always serving you wisdom and knowledge from a spiritual perspective and always bringing you spiritual awareness. Please, if you can, go ahead and hit that like button. Y'all already know I'm going to deliver the word as I always do. Big ups to everybody who has been supporting me, my A1s from day ones. Again, I may most likely upload this on both of my channels. Ladies, if you want a space where only the ladies congregate, you are welcome to subscribe to my Mocha's Ladies Lounge. I'll also drop gems over there as well. So, or I may just leave it on this one today. But anyway, it all depends. But nevertheless, y'all, appreciate y'all for tuning in. So, y'all, I definitely wanted to get into this. Everybody has been talking about it, and I want to share my own perspective because I myself have also experienced being bullied within the workplace, but I'm also aware that there are many people who have their own businesses and their own organizations, and unfortunately bullying does go both ways because you do have some employees that bully as well. But let me get into the main story at hand, y'all. This is coming out of East Point, Michigan. Early on Thursday, July 10, 2025, Muhammad, age 26, the young lady you see in the thumbnail with the McDonald's hat, was sent home by her manager, Jennifer Harris, 39, after an argument. Approximately an hour later, she returned wearing a mask, wielding a kitchen knife blade over 3 inches, and entered through the back entrance. She stabbed Harris up to 15 times, resulting in Harris's death. A drive-through customer legally carrying a firearm fired one shot to stop the assault, then held Muhammad at gunpoint until law enforcement had actually arrived. Muhammad told detectives she intended to kill Harris, drove to a park to think, then retracted her steps to return with the knife. Her attorney later entered a formal plea of not guilty to charges of first-degree premeditated murder and possession of a dangerous weapon. Now, the victim, Jennifer Harris, is 39, single mother of 6, and had been working for McDonald's for 15 years. Charges on bond. Muhammad faces charges including first-degree premeditated murder, unlawful possession of a weapon, and is noted as a habitual offender. She is held at Macomb County Jail on a $25 million bond, cash only. Probable cause hearing is set for July 23rd, y'all. So anyway, of course there's more to this, and we're going to read and look into some more video footage pertaining to the story. But Muhammad did post an angry Instagram video accusing Harris of bullying, racism, and disrespect. She complained about being sent home early and having her hours cut. Prosecutors say this video supports the contention the crime was premeditated. Muhammad was sent home, planned the return, and purchased or used a weapon from her car. So, y'all, the high bail, her prior conviction, and court schedule signal a serious prosecution, y'all. So anyway, she is definitely in hot water for taking this woman's life. Hot water is not even the word, y'all. But believe it or not, it's a lot of people that have a lot of mixed views about the situation. Definitely my heart goes out to Mrs. Harris and her family, especially her children, that are going to now have to live with the fact that the mother is never coming back, and they're going to have to accept this new chapter in their life, knowing that their mother was killed in the manner in which her life was unalived, in the manner in which her life was taken. And it's a very unfortunate situation because there are children that are going to be traumatized behind the loss of their mom. You know, this woman was a provider. She worked hard, and regardless of, you know, people who understand, take a stance on, you know, managers abusing their authority, or those who basically not standing on a stance. My heart definitely goes out to her, man. That has to be rough. I'm sure that lady put on her uniform that morning And nowhere in her mind did she think this is going to be the final day that my life is taken and I will never ever be here for my kids ever again. I'll never return home. I'm sure it nowhere crossed her mind, y'all. So it's a lot of people who pretty much going in on this, and I'm going to play a couple of TikToks, right, because everybody had different views, and I kind of want us to go into different things that people were saying. But first, let me play, I'm going to play just a short news video clip that kind of explains the situation a little bit more precisely. So let me just play this first.
$1 million. That's the bond set for the woman accused of fatally stabbing her manager at the East Point McDonald's. Good evening, everyone. I'm Taryn Asher.
Brandon Hudson, the 26-year-old, made her first court appearance today, and we learned this isn't the first time investigators say that she stabbed someone. Fox News' Camila Mary has the latest.
26-year-old Feni Muhammad in court Friday afternoon, charged with first-degree murder. East Point police say Muhammad fatally stabbed her manager, 39-year-old Jennifer Harris, inside the McDonald's where they both worked on 9 Mile Thursday morning.
Prior to the stabbing, Muhammad was sent home by Harris for not performing her work duties and told Harris, "I'll be back."
2 days before the stabbing, Muhammad posted a video on her Instagram, which is public. This is a small portion of that video.
But to get sent home 2 days in a row, man, and I came in on my off day to make up my time, and she still sends me home early, it's not funny. Somebody will have to do something about that. It's not funny.
Investigators say the suspect stabbed Harris several times inside the drive-thru portion of the fast food restaurant. A customer, a CPL holder, was in his car and witnessed the crime. Authorities say he shot his gun in the air, attempting to stop the violence. When the suspect ran out of the restaurant, the CPL holder held her at gunpoint until police arrived.
Muhammad admitted that she intended to kill Harris and stated that after she was sent home, she drove to a nearby park, decided to come back and stab Harris with a knife that she had inside of her vehicle.
Harris, a single mother of 6 and a longtime McDonald's employee, was pronounced deceased at a nearby hospital. Meanwhile, the prosecutor revealing this in court about Muhammad.
The defendant does have a prior instance of at least one that I'm aware that involved a stabbing, similar obviously to the stabbing that occurred in this case, involving a knife.
That prior stabbing occurred in Virginia. Muhammad's attorney arguing
she was in an extremely abusive relationship that was not only mental but physical, that involved alcohol issues, which is where the habitual second stems from, and her prior record.
The judge set Muhammad's bond at $25 million cash surety only. She will be back in court on July 23rd for a probable cause hearing. In East Point, Camila Mary, Fox 2 News.
All right, y'all. Fair use, fair use. Please go ahead and hit that like button, please. Also, I'm going to play a video clip, which is also short, of how the manager who was murdered, how her children responded to the loss of their mom. So I'm going to also play that as well.
Everybody, I'm Rupra.
And I'm Taryn Asher. We begin with a heartbreaking loss for one Metro Detroit family dealing really with an unthinkable tragedy.
Yeah, Taryn, what began as a normal day at work quickly turned violent. A mother of 6 stabbed to death at an East Point McDonald's while doing her job.
And Fox News' Camila Mary joining us live with the very latest. And Camila, we understand you have spoken now with the woman's family. I mean, it's hard to imagine what they're going through.
Yeah, I mean, we were here all day, and then family members started showing up this afternoon, one after another, all coming back to the scene of the crime. She has 6 children, as you said, ages 5 to 20, and some of the littlest ones were here, and let me tell you, it was absolutely heartbreaking.
My mom was a good person. She was the best mom anybody could ever ask for.
Jennifer Harris, a single mother of 6, a manager at McDonald's, fatally stabbed Thursday morning by one of her employees, according to police.
My mama, she woke up every day and went to work for us. My mama died trying to take care of us.
It happened right before 8 o'clock at the McDonald's on 9 Mile in East Point.
From our understanding, it happened near the drive-thru window inside of the building, so in the employee area.
Investigators say it started as a verbal dispute between Harris and her employee. Harris asked the woman to leave, but
she came back with a mask on her face, and the only thing I seen was her hands. That's how I knew it was her. And she started stabbing her. I tried to stop her. It was no stopping her. She
Stabbed her everywhere.
Police say a customer, a CPL holder in line at the drive-thru, witnessed the stabbing and shot his gun in the air, attempting to stop the crime. The suspect ran out of the fast food restaurant, the CPL holder getting out of his car and holding her at gunpoint until police arrived.
He absolutely did the right thing. He showed, so to speak, heroism.
Harris's family members beside themselves with grief.
We met the lady and everything. I don't understand why she had to kill her. My mama was even good to her. She was good to everybody.
It's just so incredibly sad. The children's father is incarcerated. They told us that when we met with them earlier today. So it was just their mom. And that
Fair use, fair use. The irony that the children's father are incarcerated. Very interesting. So that definitely means these children don't have anybody to support them now. So I could only imagine the toll that is going to take on them emotionally, knowing that not only they lost their mom, but they lost their support system. But yes, their father is currently incarcerated.
The suspect is 26 years old, and of course we expect her to be arraigned possibly tomorrow or the next day, hoping to learn more about what led up to this. Meanwhile, Jennifer worked here. She went by the name of Gemma, and she worked here for 15 years. So, I mean, just a horrible, horrible story all around. There's absolutely nothing that makes sense about this. Reporting live in East Point, Camille and Mary, Fox 2 News.
Yeah, Camille, I know that Gemma and that other person had an argument today. The suspect comes back, stabbing her. But do we know if this was an ongoing fight beyond today between the two of them? Are family members saying anything about that?
They're not. I mean, you know, we're going to hear more about that situation at the 6 o'clock show. But from every intents and purposes that we've been able to learn, that the suspect actually went out of her way to be nice to the children. All of them here at the McDonald's, they would hang out sometimes here. So you're going to hear more about that relationship at 6 o'clock. But they just can't understand this because they say it's so out of the blue, and what led up to this, why she did this, that of course remains to be seen. But of course we'll have a lot more tonight at 6 o'clock.
Okay, y'all, so I wanted to pump the brakes on that. So it's very unfortunate because the kid, you know, the manager's kids did have a relationship with, you know, the suspect, Afeni. So they definitely didn't see this coming no more than anybody else did. So I'm going to play a couple of TikTok videos, y'all, and I'm going to go ahead and give my commentary because it's very, very interesting and different views. And a lot of people have mixed reviews on this. Some people feel like the manager brought it upon herself. Others feel like, you know, Afeni had a mental illness, being that she did this before, but kind of find out Afeni had a lot of other issues that was not also brought to the surface until, you know, this whole situation came about. So I'm going to play a couple of TikTok videos, not many, and then I'm going to go into my commentary. So let's get it.
A McDonald's employee has been arrested after fatally stabbing her manager. The victim, 39-year-old Jennifer Harris, was a single mother to 6 children. The incident occurred at 8 a.m. on Thursday at the McDonald's on 9 Mile Road in East Point, Michigan. The police say Jennifer Harris and the suspect, who has been identified as 26-year-old Afeni Muhammad, got into an argument earlier that day when Afeni was sent home early. Afeni later returned to the restaurant with a mask, knife, and fatally stabbed Jennifer. That's when a customer that was in the drive-thru shot into the air trying to stop the altercation. Afeni then tried to flee the scene, and that same customer held and detained her until law enforcement could arrive. Jennifer was transported to the hospital where she later passed from her injury. Afeni had also been posting very concerning videos to social media.
I'm telling you, she's a bully. This shit isn't funny. She needs to understand that just because she's a mother and got children doesn't mean that she can come in this store, you know, disrespecting people, talking to them like everybody's beneath her. She has no respect. Like, seriously, man, I got shit I gotta take care of. And she keeps sending me home early. It's not funny.
Jennifer's 6 children are devastated by this and say that she was a good person who would help anyone.
Mama was a good person. She was the best mom anybody could ever ask for. My mama, she woke up every day and went to work for us. My mama died trying to take care of us. She died. God. She was so good to everybody. A hard-working woman. So kind. If anybody needed help, she would give you her last.
Afeni had her arraignment today, July 11th, and is being charged with first-degree murder and has a bond of $25 million. A McDonald's employee
Okay, y'all. Okay, so I'm going to go to some other ones because I want y'all to hear the different perspectives that people had on this. Some people actually felt like they understood where she was coming from on this, y'all, but also she's already been showing signs that, you know, she wasn't all the way there, so we're going to try to go into some of those things too. I'm going to play his because I thought he had a pretty good perspective as well.
I'm not here to say that McDonald's girl was right. I'm not here to say she was wrong. I'm here to say that's why you should watch how you treat people, and that's why you should not bully people, and that's why you should just be a good person in general. You know, it just seemed like that girl was fed up. She was talking about, oh, she got sent home 2 days in a row. She came in on her off day to make us some time, and they sent her home anyways. And I'm not here to defend that, but in honesty, you don't know what that girl was facing. You know, it's easy to get behind in this economy. It's easy to get an eviction. It's easy to do that. It really is. You know, it really is. And it sucks to say that mother is 6, lost her life. But I'm not saying that how she was treating people was right neither. You know, because as a former bully, because I used to bully people back in high school, and I sit there and think about it to this day. I regret it sometimes because them people didn't deserve that. That was just me going to school and reflecting what was being taught at home. You know, it really matters how you treat people. It really does. You should watch what you say to people. You're not above nobody. And it sucks because I'm sitting here and I'm reading the comments on some of these posts and it's like, oh, look at her hair. Oh, she looks like the type to do this. And that's why she did it. She's tired of being bullied. Just because she got orange hair or she looks the way she looks, why does that have something to do with you? You know? That doesn't. How people live isn't your problem. You know, you don't always have to comment on people's life because you are no better. You know, just because she had orange hair, she could have been the sweetest girl in the world. She could have been the smartest girl in the world. Like it really stems from bullying, bro. People is fed up and tired of getting bullied.
Okay, y'all. So as y'all can hear, like I said, some people was actually, you know, understanding of the situation that took place. Some people felt like, you know, the manager been there 15 years, and because she been there all of those years, she probably felt like she could talk to this young lady all kind of way. Keep in mind that, you know, this suspect is 26, okay? And Mrs. Harris was in her 40s. So 9 times out of 10, Miss Harris probably had kids that was close to the suspect's age. And, you know, with all due respect, some of these older women, they forget that these young women on these jobs are not their daughters, not their children. But we're going to talk more about that in a few. Let's get to 1 or 2 more, and then I'm going to go to my commentary.
So I don't have to listen to you doing this, and you're interrupting my music call on my phone. Please leave me alone. Stop fucking with me! Leave me alone! Leave me alone! Please! Please leave me alone! I don't want to have sex with you! I don't want to have sex!
I was wrongfully treated today at work. I was literally physically tapped on a lot of times. My name kept getting called. I was doing a great job. I kept getting sabotaged, tempted, so my button can get pressed and I can go out of character. So although I went out of character, all I could say was stop talking to me.
Fair use.
That's all I could say. Stop talking to me.
Hit the like button.
And to walk into my space, still bothering me, and I said, get away from me. Please get out of my space if you don't mind. I can't talk right now. and you still continue to touch me, that made me very unhappy. It was ridiculous. Because I know that I'm a great person, and I know I won't be tolerating that. So since they decided to bully me, let the universe show them what's next. Because it wasn't right. It was ridiculous. And there will be hell to pay for that. Without a doubt. I asked them, like, they're gonna get me to talk to, like, a social worker, because I told them that I'm interested in, like, getting a house rent. Like, you know, I told them that the guy I live with, he stresses me out and stuff, and, like, and then after what he did, like yesterday, it kind of, like, it just, like, kind of went over the line at this point. Like, he handed me the knife and told me he told me to kill him. And then I said, you could kill yourself, like, you're crazy. Like I don't know if I should have said it like that, but that's just, like, what I said at the moment, because it's like, I'm like, you know, I was like, you're crazy, you need help, fuck you. That's what I told him. And then I walked away.
Alright, y'all, so I just wanted to kind of speed through some of this so you can kind of hear, you know, get an idea of her personality. She definitely has her own way of how she perceives things and how she looks at things. And I do know she was staying with an older gentleman who she did not really want to stay with, but because she needed a place to stay, allegedly, you know, he was looking for something in return. And that was another issue that she was dealing with, because, you know, she was already having hell at home, which does not justify her behavior, but y'all get my drift. Let me see what this has to say.
She shared how she had been homeless, how she rented a room from a stranger who expected her to trade her body just for a place to sleep. In one of her videos, Afeni explained that she was renting a room from a man named Wayne. She made it clear that she only wanted a place to stay, not a relationship. But according to her, Wayne kept trying to pursue her, despite her saying no.
I'm just sitting at this park right now. I wanted I had to talk to my neighbor Wayne again and, like, clear up everything with him, because how I said how, like, he always, like, he's always like he always, like, look at me a certain way or something, and I told him that, like, I don't want to have sex. I told him that. So it's like, you know, sometimes he would give me something to eat or something if I didn't make anyone out of Instacart. I get that. But I told him, like, I don't want him thinking that that I owe him that just because he do that for me. Sometimes I want him to think that I owe him sex. So now, like, after I told him that, it's like he's been crying and crying and telling me he think I use him, dismissing everything that I do for him and did for him, dismissing the fact that he had this condition that he'd been going through for a long time and nobody can help him but me. I helped him get through it. And I cook, and, you know, I don't have a lot of money, but I still make money at work, but, you know, I don't have a car right now. I'm still working to get in a car. And he feels like I owe him sex, and now he's mad and crying and trying to make me feel guilty. I need to just calm down.
All right, y'all. So we get the drift, right? Obviously, this young woman here had a lot of problems, a lot of issues coming. She was already in a struggle with some things. She's already, mentally disturbed also in that aspect. So it's several things here going on in this picture, and this is definitely a reality reminder that you have to be careful how you challenge people in a way, because the thing is, you don't know what you're up against. You don't know what kind of demons you're up against out here. You don't know what kind of mental illnesses you are up against out here. But nevertheless, everybody's been having mixed reviews on the whole situation. A lot of people empathize with Afeni because there is a thing called workplace bullying. And I have personally experienced that. Now, again, this does not condone Afeni's actions. This does not justify this woman being murdered in the manner in which her life was taken. I will not co-sign on that. But based off of my personal experience, your job, your livelihood, especially in this day and age with the things that we are up against in the economy, the things that we're up against with this rent, it's real brutal out here in the streets of survival. And the last thing you need is to go to work in a hostile environment in which, because a person over you has at least 10, 15, 20 years in the game, and because you stand up for yourself or you call them out when you see them doing certain things. I mean, the fact that a person with that amount of years put in, they really feel like, they don't have to answer to nobody. And in some cases, they feel like they don't even have to respect nobody. Only those of us who have been there and experienced it can understand that. I dealt with that on my last job when I was a correctional officer. There was a particular woman there who had been there every bit of 20 plus years. And I don't know what it is when you're a young black woman and you have older black women in authority over you. It can get really confrontational at times, because let's just face it, women don't really get along with each other that well anyway. And when you put one in authority over another one, it can be very challenging at times. I had a lot of older women threatened by me on my job because I was younger, and I was able to vibe, with the opposite sex on within the workplace. I was able to connect with certain people in ways they were not. And sometimes this can come off as intimidating, especially if you're dealing with women that are older than you. Now, I'm not saying this is the case with this situation, but I'm just giving hypothetical examples. And I want to see, too, there's this other video in which she kind of describes basically the way in which Miss Harris was kind of abusing her authority. I wanted to kind of see if I could find that. Let me see if she kind of goes into that, because I just want y'all to get a more clearer understanding on some other things I probably didn't.
I got sent home early today by the same person. I'm telling you, she's a bully. This shit isn't funny. She needs to understand that just because she's a mother and got children doesn't mean that she can come in this store, disrespecting people, talking to them like everybody's beneath her. She has no respect. And it isn't funny at all. Like, seriously, man, I got shit I gotta take care of. And she keeps sending me home early. It's not funny. She's playing games. And then all day, throughout the day, she keeps saying her little racial shit. And then throughout the day, she keeps on, putting negative energy in the air, talking about people, gossiping about people. It's not funny, man. That shit gonna have to stop. She's a bully. I'm telling you. She's a bully. She brings a lot of negative energy in there. She always panic when there's a lot going on, and then she try to manipulate that and make it seem like we ain't doing something right, but we are working really hard and doing great. It's just the fact that she panicked, and I caught her a few times making a mistake, and she tried to hurry up and play it off. Nobody's perfect. It's fucking McDonald's. It happens. You know what I mean? Sometimes Somebody might get confused. So fuck, it gets busy, yeah. But she needs to stop playing like she don't be making mistakes. I be catching her. So all that animosity and shit that she keep putting in the air and stuff, then trying to tell me I'm always snapping on people. No, that's false. No, I don't snap on people. I don't go in there doing that. I tell her, no, I make peace. That's what I'm doing. I've been creating peace. So all that negative energy that she's bringing in there and trying to manipulate it, no, that's going to stop. All that negative shit she's saying about, her personal life, all of that. No, she's bringing all of that in there and then playing games saying she want to take her belt off and beat somebody. Y'all act like my kids in there. No, we ain't your kids. Respect us. Stop talking to us like that. That shit is crazy. I'm telling you. But to get sent home 2 days in a row, man, and I came in on my off day to make up my time, and she still sends me home early, it's not funny. Somebody will have to do something about that. It's not funny. It's not fair. It isn't funny at all. So, she could keep being a bully if she wants to, but that shit is going to catch up to her. Because it ain't funny at all. It ain't. I got sent home early.
Okay, so let's pause there. Okay, so, not to play devil's advocate, but I have to. You do have some of these women who have leadership roles who do come on these jobs throwing their weight around. It happens very frequently, especially when you put a woman in position. Now, keep in mind, you have some of these women who are dealing with difficulties in their own personal life, and what they do is they come to these jobs and they throw their weight around. Just the fact of, and I'm going to say alleged because I wasn't there. I can't pick a side on this, but based off of what she's stating, if this woman was coming to the job basically, saying y'all acting like my children, or, I'm going to have to rough y'all up like y'all my kids, and, there was another video in which I saw, she didn't state it here, but in which she stated that, if I could whip my kids, I can whip y'all as well too. So just throw a little shade like that. All of that, it just goes to show you that while you're thinking people aren't paying attention to the things that you say and the things that you do, sometimes people are up there just calculating and holding it, and they're just waiting for the opportunity to catch you slipping, or wait for the opportunity in which you get out of pocket one more time, and then they just going for the gusto. So it sounds like to me, and she's done several videos ranting about the manager, how the manager's been treating her and all of that. So this has pretty much been building up over time. However, but I've also been hearing that she's been on the job doing a lot of TikTok videos, and that was the reason the manager was getting frustrated with her work ethics. So it's a lot of different mixed views on this, right? But I'm going to read a few of these comments before I get ready to kind of shut things down. I want to read the different perspective, the different comments on this, right? Okay, I'm not going to play this video again.
I'm not here to say that McDonald's.
I just want to read the comments. At the tender age of 17, I was treated poorly by my manager at Burger King. I simply found another job. And that would have been the wisest thing. I mean, let's face it. Y'all are in Michigan. I'm sure it's several McDonald's in the hood other than just that one. Either she should have left, or once the manager saw that her and this young lady kept bumping heads, she should have got this young lady transferred from her location. That way the young lady still could have kept her job, because listen, when you snatch people's livelihood, it's a fair chance that people can very well go local, because it's hard out here. I don't care what was happening. She has no right to take no one's lives, and I totally agree with that. Her feelings are valid, but not her actions. And a lot of people have been saying that, like, okay, she had a right to feel what she felt, whether if y'all agree with it or not. The girl had a right to say she felt like the manager was bullying her. However, she should have not resorted to taking this woman's life. The fact that she stabbed somebody at her last job because she didn't like being told what to do, moved to another place and did the same thing, and this time it ended bad. Like what? Yeah, she has history of doing this before. So after a while, if you have this problem everywhere you go, it can't be the managers. Obviously, you have to be the problem. That's why you should focus on righteousness and your purpose in life. Mental stability is serious, and we should make sure we treat people kind, and people should know the world is not fair and definitely not your friend. Yes, and I always say this, as a manager, a supervisor, anybody that's in leadership, you do have a responsibility. You can't be so fixated on making sure your employees are just fulfilling the hours that you're not paying attention to their character, you're not paying attention to their attitude, you're not paying attention to their behavior. All of those are red flags. I'm sure this young lady been displaying she was insubordinate, that she had her own way of looking at things. And anybody could say shoulda, coulda, woulda, until you get in those shoes, you actually don't know what you would have done. Maybe the manager didn't think it was necessary to have to transfer her because maybe she thought Afeni was just wilding and just basically just acting out or whatever, because Afeni is only 26 and Miss Harris is in her 40s, so she probably didn't think about it that deep, you know what I mean? Did the bully manage her, or did she bully her? Yeah. Some people should learn tools to deal with emotions. You are right. There's so many people out here with passive aggressive behavior and they don't know how damaging it is. Leave people alone, please. Yes, as I stated, my last job, I was under a lot of pressure being a correctional officer already. And I'm going to come out of this because everybody got their own reviews on everything. Yes, I was in a situation in which, I was depending on my job, I was depending on my income, I was depending on my livelihood, and because me and the female supervisor that I had over me as far as authority on the job, the moment she could not have her way with me on certain things, I started noticing a lot of bullying. They're messing with my schedule, and that's a big red flag, and that will piss off or frustrate anybody. You're changing their schedule. I had it to where she had me working a long schedule. She had me working the 12s. She had me working the 10s, but I noticed everybody else, they was working 8s. They was working like 5s. I'm like, why is this woman I'm the only one on the whole schedule who she's giving these long hours to. Not only that, anytime I requested days off, she always had an excuse. Somebody got that day. Somebody already put in for Christmas. Somebody already put in for Thanksgiving. And what really broke the straw on the camel's back, it was on, I think it was on March, and I asked, could I get time off in June? Now that's way ahead. When she kept denying me of all the holidays that were coming up, I said, okay, I'm going to put in and see if I can get something. I'm going to put in for days off. I'm going to put in a couple of months in advance. She even denied that. How you deny me getting a day off 4 months from now? Okay, you denied it when I wanted something a week later or 2 weeks later. Okay, I probably had to get out a pass. Maybe I was cutting it too short to be requesting those days. I'm asking you for days way in advance. She wouldn't honor those. She was intentionally doing everything she could to sabotage me, and it's a very unpleasant feeling when you know you need the money, but you're not wanted there. Now I can't speak for the manager. Maybe the manager felt she needed to do what was necessary because you have a lot of these young people that come in these jobs, and because of these phones and stuff now, they want to TikTok, they want to record, they don't want to work. I know these phones are definitely a big problem with young people working, and maybe the manager had a problem with that, or in her mind, Afeni probably felt like, okay, well, as long as I'm doing the job and I'm still working, well, how's my TikTok affecting you? You have young people who think like that. I should be able to use my phone as long as I'm still doing my job. Well, no, you're really not doing your job. You're moving slower than what you normally would move without the phone, and you're being distracted because you're too busy trying to record for TikTok versus paying attention to how you put these orders and everything in. So it's so many aspects to this, but Afeni Afeni appears to me that she's always been troubled. She's staying with a man who is expecting sexual favors from her. She has to go to a job and be under the authority of a woman who's not too fond for her. Afeni had a lot of issues going on, but nevertheless, Miss Harris was a mom, a hard worker, provider. The father of her children was incarcerated. Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to just be honest. Some of these women come on a job, they take their misery and bitterness out on other women and other employees, especially if their own personal life is in disarray. They do come to these jobs and throw their weight around. I've seen that happen multiple times, so hopefully, because I got to play devil's advocate, but again, this does not justify Afeni taking Mrs. Harris' life, because that for a fact she should not have done, and she's already going to pay for that. Literally, she'll never see daylight in prison. And while she's in prison again, that's a given. I don't think the family is going to be failed in that. I will hope not, because I don't have too much faith and trust in the criminal justice system. But Miss Harris was doing what she had to do to make sure her family was good. I respect her consistency to have been at McDonald's for 15 years. Honestly, the most I've ever been on a job without no problems is probably like 2 years. Something about after that, I just start clashing, or I have a disagreement and with the way a job is doing things, and for whatever reason, I'm always becoming targeted. I'm always the one they choose to make an example out of. So that's what made me go into my own business. I don't work for anybody but the state, but at the same time, I don't have nobody working for me. I just don't want that kind of pressure. It's a lot when you're a manager. You have to deal with employees that are inconsistent, employees that think you need to privilege them in certain ways. If something happens at your store location, you're going to be the first one to feel the wrath of it. Wow. Those who you manage up under you, they could care less, because all they do is come in with their hours and they go home. But as a manager, you're there at the store, at the business location from sun up to sundown. You don't always get breaks. Too much is given, much is required. And these young people, hiring them, with their attitudes, with some of them still being sheltered, living at home with their mama and their daddy and stuff. It's a lot being a manager. That's why you can never pay me to even want those kind of positions. I never want to manage, never want to supervise. I never want to deal with that, because at the same token, I needed peace. I don't want to be held liable for nobody else who's messing up or not doing what needs to be done. That's a lot of pressure. So I commend anybody out there that's a supervisor or a manager or a director, administrator, because it's a lot that's required of you. That's why I knew people who worked at the jail and been the same regular CO for 15, 20 years. They're not even trying to go to the academy to rank up, because they don't want to deal with the responsibilities. Places like that, they're always pushing to rank somebody up so they can basically pass the bucks. Well, that's what we got you for. You the one that got to keep up with these employees. You the one that got to keep up with their schedules. That's pretty much how a lot of managers get burnt out and stressed out. And I don't know if it was something personal between her and this young lady, but obviously they weren't fond of each other. They did not get along somewhere, and it probably wasn't. I can admit it probably wasn't always that. It's just that being a manager, you got to go into manager mode. You can't play with nobody. I need you to be over here at this time. If I see you clowning, I'm going to send you home, because I don't want you distracting what I got going here. But then being an employee is not easy, because once you work for a company or agency or business, your livelihood is in the hands of those that are in leadership over you. You have no say so at all, and that's the scary part about being an employee. You know, and the truth is, furthermore, working with women have always been a challenge to work for. Because there's always some type of jealousy. There's always like some type of low-key animosity. I know I've experienced it quite a big deal with a lot of the women that I used to work with, especially the older ones. They did not take a liking to me. Didn't matter how polite I was, didn't matter how respectable I was. It just was that once there was a disagreement, you know, they would take that and just use it as leverage. You know, they have this superiority complex, like, you know, younger women, we're beneath them. You know, I don't know if it's because, you know, they yearn for the older days, you know, when they used to be in their youth, and maybe they're not getting attention that they used to get at some point in time. So another younger woman being around them can come off as intimidating. You know, just all kind of reasons or whatever. But it could have been, this whole situation, it could have been resolved in so many different ways. As a manager, you have to read the room. If you know that there is animosity that's building up between you and an employee under your supervision, you have to use discernment and, you know, get that individual relocated versus terminating them. You know, because people are struggling, you know, and people will crash out on you because it's already a struggle out here. And I don't think the manager kind of knew what she was up against. I don't think she really cared, because the manager had been there for every bit of 15 years, and she really didn't have the time or the energy to feed into what was going on with this young lady. So, you know, she said what she said and probably popped off at her recklessly sometime or another. And unfortunately, she popped off on a young woman who was very troubled. And to be honest with you, I avoid conflict with younger women, because younger women, they're overly emotional. They're not good with their anger. They're not good with their attitude. So younger women, and I would advise all older women, especially those who are in management or who in high-level positions, not to challenge these young women too much. These young women don't have a conscience, you know, and they still are immature in a lot of ways, which means they don't know how to deal with their anger. So you got to be careful, like popping off on these young females all kind of way. You get what I'm saying? You can't be on some little girl, don't try me, you know, I will, you know, take you out, you know what I mean? You cannot try these young females today, because they are emotionally very weak, and it doesn't take much for them to crash out on you, for them to like completely lose it on you. Young people in general, I try to avoid conflict with young men and young women, because this generation today, they don't have a conscience. They don't respect the elders. A lot of them don't have morals, and a lot of them got the sense of entitlement in which the world revolves around them. I'm not sure the reason for why the manager was shortening this young lady's hours. Maybe it was because, you know, she was disrespectful, she was mouthy, again, doing TikTok, not focusing on her tasks on her job, not being consistent. The manager probably had every reason to handle her in a manner in which she did. You know, maybe she was not doing what she was required to do. But however, because we were not there, we don't have no bite in the fight, right? Can't pick a side, you know, because we really don't know the whole story. Like my father used to say, it's her side, and then there's the truth, right? So we'll never really know, but just hypothetically, I'm just coming up with other reasons. And please make sure y'all hit that like button. Or it could have been that this older woman thinks she's sugar honey iced tea because she done been on the job for 15 years. So in her mind, she feel like she done secured her place. Therefore, she feels like anybody who works under her is beneath her. Therefore, she feels like she could talk to them and handle them all kind of way. Now, keep in mind, the manager, she was also a mother herself. So maybe because she's used to kind of handling her daughters a certain way, she felt like she could handle younger women on the job the same way that she handles her daughters at home. And, you know, just because you raise black daughters, you can't go around here talking to young black women as if they are your daughters, you know. My daughter is used to my delivery. She's accustomed to how I am, but I cannot apply, you know, my methods with her to these other young black women in the street. A lot of these young females today, they very modern-minded females today are disrespectful. They don't respect the wisdom and knowledge of older women. They don't respect our authority. And as a grown woman, you have to have the spirit of discernment and know if you're dealing with another young female that does not respect your authority, does not respect you as a woman, does not feel the need to humble themselves to you. You have to be able to read the room on that and know when it's going to become a problem. You know, I don't know if the manager was so sure of herself that she didn't feel the need to take those extra precautions. You got to read the room, you know. Pay attention to their body language, the way they look at you. If they're very defiant all the time, you got to pick up on energy. I don't think nobody thought. I'm sure if the manager had known this girl would have took her life, she probably would have approached things differently. But, you know, we've all been known to have our attitudes from time to time, but you never think that this young lady is going to take my life. And that's exactly what happened. But I've had my share of nasty black women in supervision who have been over me. And it was not a pleasant experience. And, you know, I left that job feeling broken spirited because of the person I had leadership over me. Now, the funny part was I did okay at my last job as long as I was dealing with men. Black men, white men, no problems. I didn't start having any problems until I was relocated into a department in which I had to deal with a female. And she started off nice, you know. I guess she was trying to read me initially, and maybe because she didn't know of me, we clicked a little bit in the initial beginning. But to me, the energy just was always kind of off, you know. And I would try my best to kind of stay away from her because I pick up on energy, and just something about her I just knew. You know, even though we never had any personal encounters, just something about her, her spirit, her presence, it just never sat well with me. And sooner than later, it manifested, especially once we had a difference in agreement. I mean, in as far as the policies and the procedures of the job, that's when we really started butting heads. When she saw that I was just not going to lay down and take whatever she said. I would challenge her on a lot of things, and a lot of people that's in authority, they don't like being challenged, especially when you're under them. They don't want you questioning them. They don't want you calling them out. They don't want you saying, "Hey, I'm on what you're doing. I know you're being malicious. You're being spiteful." People who have been in their seat, who've been in a high position for a long amount of time, for a certain organization or a business, they don't take lightly to young people or new people. If you're a new employee or if you're a young employee, you automatically going to become a problem, because as a new employee, you just got here. Who are you to be calling out or addressing me on anything? And definitely don't be young. As long as you're young, they're not going to look at your wisdom and knowledge. They're going to look at your age and feel like you just supposed to work how we tell you to work, do what we say do, and you don't rebuttal it, you don't go back and forth or whatever the case may be. But I'm sure it's way more to the story, and as time goes on, I feel a lot more is going to unravel. But it's definitely a very sad situation, and I'm going to elaborate more on this on my other channel, Mocha's Ladies Lounge. I want to talk about working with women in the workplace. I thought that's a conversation that's definitely needed in that space for the ladies. So I'm going to get ready to upload some content on that, discussing this. But yeah, y'all, definitely stay prayed up out there. Be kind to people. You don't know what people are going through. If you being kind and you feel the energy is off, you feel the attitude is getting worse, as a person in leadership, you're supposed to also have discernment and common sense. Rid that problem, but you have to do it in a manner that is respectable. That way, the change won't come off as you are antagonizing or targeting a certain specific individual. When her and this young lady started bumping heads, instead of her reducing her hours and all of that, she should have called the higher up and made arrangements to relocate her, you know, to a different location. Say, hey boo, I think me and you, we just kind of don't see eye to eye, and I don't want to take your job from you, you know, I'd rather transfer you somewhere else, because I know you got to make it to make ends meet. Sometimes you got to slowly pull your arm out of a lion's mouth. You can't be on this gung-ho, I'm the manager, and what the if I say gonna go, and if you can't take it, you can carry your ass on, you cannot be coming on strong with people, because you don't know if you're up against mental illness, if you're up against evil wickedness, because I really believe everybody want to blame mental illness on any and everybody, and I'm sick of everybody using mental illness as an excuse. I think it's evilness. I think it's just some people just straight evil and wicked, and we want to keep labeling it with mental illness, and in some cases there is mental illness. But whatever the case is, y'all, leave y'all comment below. Let me know what y'all think about this whole situation at hand. Do you think the manager kept provoking this young lady to where she crashed out, or do you think the young lady was already rebellious, problematic, troublesome, or do you think it was a matter of both, which is probably what added gasoline to the fire? Maybe the manager was, you know, biggity and could have been mean and nasty to a certain degree, and then on top of that you got this young lady who's problematic, so that probably added, you know, more chaos, you know, to the situation than needed. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, leave y'all opinion below and let me know what y'all think. It's your girl, your diva knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris. Again, hit that like button before you leave, and ladies, please subscribe to Mocha's Ladies Lounge. That is my other channel. I'll be talking to y'all soon. Be blessed.